Hey everyone, it's Ollie from the podcast. Just a quick message to say thank you so much for listening to our newest episode. If you're feeling it, please share, like, and subscribe and all that good stuff. It really helps the podcast, tell a friend about it, post it on your socials, whatever it is. But yeah, just get the word out about the awesome spectacular. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Hello, one and all, and everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of the Awesome Spectacular with your co-host and host, Paul Christian.
Alongside with, of course, your host, Rufaro with Ollie once. Also, a Happy New Year to everyone, because this is the first time ever we are taking this podcast to a whole new length.
And today's subject, we're going to be talking about the Metaverse and what it means and whether it's going to actually benefit us or give us a new definition of the social media we all know and love called Facebook. And
Plus, we've also got a second topic called beauty standards, which we'll also be talking about as well. And if anything, if you guys want to feel comfortable with it, you guys could basically have a chance to listen to the other episodes from our podcast. But right now, we're going to go straight in to our number one topic. Paul, do you want to tell the audience about our number one topic, please?
Yeah, our number one topic is the Metaverse. So, what do you think the Metaverse means?
Well, Paul, with a very interesting question that was coming from you, I would say the Metaverse is more of mainly the behind the scenes of social media and what it takes to basically grapple between reality and, of course, real life. Don't you think so?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, I think the Metaverse has the potential to be something like great and beneficial, but it has yet to be go to the standards of how Mark Zuckerberg, who is the founder of Facebook, vision will come to life. So how do you think the Metaverse will work?
Well, obviously, we do know now that things have changed, not just in reality, but also with the platforms that we have used on social media. For instance, we know that Facebook and Insta are connected, and we know that Twitter's also connected with them. But obviously, there is one thing that we could possibly know about Facebook is that people can get cyberbullied on there. And just to clarify on it, we know that people have been cyberbullied on there, and some people have been taking this to fall. And Paul, do you want to take on topic with that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of interest in it. There's a lot of pros and a lot of cons, and there's a lot to figure out. All of the nooks and crannies, as such to speak, and I think it has potential. I mean, in an ideal world, it has the potential to be something great, but the real question is, can he really pull it off? And can the audience prove? Can the audience get truly on board with this whole new concept of the Metaverse?
Yeah, I would have to obviously say, just due to the concept of it all, it can be very daunting, because we know that mostly people we are really did close to and we also love outside of social media, we still love and support them, and obviously that's a big, huge thing in this world that we call basically life. But when you know what's going on the screen, you could still see there's no change in that limit. The things are still gonna be the same, especially when it's on and off. And I think as I could just probably say this for us in general, I would say Facebook is mainly the way of coping with certain issues. And mainly the same thing with Twitter and with Insta. But I also know that now that there's been a bit of an improvement with the metaverse, and I think it's changed not just for our generation, but for the benefits of everyone else's generation now, especially when it's coming to doing things that make them so comfortable.
So what do you think that could possibly go wrong with this whole new universe, to speak?
Well, Paul, I think one thing could possibly come to mind with it, and that is just taking it for granted and just putting things aside and just focusing on the priorities, on putting yourself into that world and into that mindset. Because I think everyone all has a singularity, or either a sort of profit in that moment. Because if you think about what Mark Zuckerberg did with Facebook, this wasn't just an idea, this was from the ground up, and the guy literally did not give a damn about what happened. Because obviously, I can tell you this, in so many professional, accessible, groundbreaking ways that this guy has changed the game. Like, literally, this guy did not just wake up one night and think, oh, let me make Facebook. No, he had to work hard for it. And this guy did not stop. He kept going. And you could notice the reason why it was social network. And I'm saying this for my own experience as well when it came to repeating stuff and pushing people away. Like, I could actually feel myself and Mark Zuckerberg in the same category when it came to pushing people away and obviously feeling like I was alone. Because let's face it, in this world, there are going to be moments where sometimes people can be heroes and sometimes people can treat themselves very, very badly. And it is one of the most messed up, scariest, crappiest things that you could ever deal with.
Do you think that Facebook isolates people?
Oh, definitely. 100% definitely, for sure. I think, obviously now, because we're in a new year, and now things are starting to develop more, and now Facebook is not known as Facebook anymore. It's known by a different name, because that's why we're talking about the metaverse right now. And this is not gonna change anytime soon, because the metaverse is here to stay. That's the thing. I think now, because people just have to understand the whereabouts, because obviously you could just like someone's photo or just comment, and obviously the next day you could just be like posting something about how you're feeling, or either you could either just post something that makes you feel very, very great, but deep down you know that you do not like it at all. And obviously, we could talk about people that we obviously love, like, for instance, The Rock or Kevin Hart or Will Smith, or mainly anybody, for example, because look at the organizations we work with, for example, Hunting Museum, Accessible Areas, Bubble Club. People like that, they take their work very seriously to the bone. And that's for something that they truly love. But when it comes down to the people that you care about, like friends and family, and mostly loved ones, including the people that you hold very dear to, then obviously you do not want to let that go, because that is precious. That is very precious.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with me, it's like, I totally agree with what you're saying. everyone who we work with takes their jobs really seriously, and they work with a lot of different companies, and they partner up with a lot of different agencies and to help to make the bond stronger and to help us in our daily lives. And they are trying to not only change the game, but help to try and change people's perspectives. And which is one thing that I'm really intrigued in. And that's one of the aspects why I joined with these agencies that wants to accumulate change, to change the barriers, to cross that sense of So my question is, how do you think that that the companies that we work with are changing?
Well, I could obviously say that there is a law that has a lot to push the barrier with. Obviously, to say the least, we know that people that we have worked with have moved on to better but also great and impossible endeavors in life and professionally. Some people we're really grateful for what we have basically stood for and worked for. And obviously, we take this with a lot of pride in what we have done. I know we've talked about this before in previous moments of the podcast beforehand, even if it's something to do with Black History Month, or either we're still here, or either with anything that we have come with. And this is all to do with the Metaverse, by the way. Like, we're not taking that away from that situation, but it's all got to do with the circulation, the stimulation, the transformation, the transitions from what it is to being in an agency to where you are now. And it's an evolution of where you stand with the measurement of it all, because obviously with Facebook, it goes in a total wave. Twitter is like straight in a percentage. Then you got Insta. And then obviously, if you look at those levels, it's like a pie chart. And no one knows where that pie chart is going to lead. No one knows where they're going to take it to. Because let's say, for example, if everyone else has a piece of that pie chart, you get one piece of Insta, one piece of Twitter, and then you got a massive haul of Facebook. And then when that plate is empty, you got nothing left. Because that obviously is changing the game. It's the same thing with shapes, and it's the same thing with order, and it's the same thing with the emotions. What happens when you're off Facebook? How do you feel? What happens when you're on Twitter? How do you feel now? When it comes to Insta, it's a completely different subject, bro. A completely 100% different subject. Even when it comes to the platform, what happens when your mind thinks? What happens when you start to socialize with people, but you don't know when to get the right words out?
Yeah, I totally agree. Especially with the platforms that you just talked about. It's kind of like a real head on mind situation, because you were just talking about how like, especially with me, it's like how do you communicate your thoughts if you can't get out what you want? And sometimes that happens to me, if not all the times. So I rely on Facebook, I rely on Twitter, I rely on Snapchat, social media like that. So my next question is to you: it's how do you think that it's much more easier for you, for people who find it hard to communicate on the outside world compared to social media?
I think they're two separate things, really, because when you're on social media, obviously, you can basically post a picture, explain how you're feeling, or either just go on about your day. But when it's like outside, you gotta realize that when you're outside, you can't just be in that mindset. Because the best thing really to do is to cleanse your mind. That's the number one priority right there. You gotta cleanse it. Because if you don't cleanse it, everything from that side is gonna mess up with you throughout the rest of your life. But obviously, I'm not saying this in a negative way or in a bad way. Social media can be used for ways to help you out when times are tough. I can understand that because obviously that has happened for most of us in general, not just for friends, but family, and including us as human beings, as how God predicted it to be, which is really true. But also I think God gave us a way on how to control social media. Because if you look at it this way, and no disrespect to the other platforms that we're going to mention right about now at this point, but when it comes to Twitter, Facebook, and Insta, those are the places that people are safe with. But before, when MySpace was around, Paul, that social media was like the most toxic. Like, literally, when I was signing up to MySpace, I was like, what am I putting myself into at that point? Because, let's face it, MySpace was a danger to some people. And the way people put themselves out there, like with fake accounts or profiles on there, it was really atrocious to see. But if I would list the platforms that are really important to me to help me out on my day-to-day basis, is mainly Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also I would possibly say WhatsApp, because mainly that doesn't have anything to do in the category of those platforms, but it also just, you know, makes you like socialize with people a lot more often. But I think for how our progression has from then to now, and I've seen a lot of progression from you, and I'm saying this not just only as a host, and also as a friend, and also as an actor, and also as a performer, but I've seen a lot of development in your arc moving forward with the metaverse. Because beforehand, I know when I met you, and I'm saying this in the most honest truth, that you were really closed in when it came to your priorities and your surroundings. And mainly now, I've seen a major growth of you this year, like socializing more, texting more, calling people more, engaging in social gatherings a lot more, and mainly being able to speak your mind. Because I'm telling you this right now, you're still the same guy that has not changed since the day that I met you. And one of these days, if someone writes about you in an autobiography or either a documentary, I'm going to be like, yeah, that's my friend right there, because he knows a lot about knowledge and he does not give a damn about it. But, Paul, my question to you is, and this is a triple question before we get to the second topic, what do you think has changed with social media? The development on how we work together, and mainly how you see things from a point of view, from your own crystal vision.
Well, I think with regarding to social media and how it developed, I think it kind of like it has come on leaps and bounds from the whole generation of the MySpace era to now to the Facebook / Metaverse era. It's kind of like at a whole new depth to the whole social media stratosphere, where people can not only invite you to stuff like to events, but you can also read about like stories and interact and to also post pictures as well. So, which is something you couldn't do on the other social media. So that's how it developed, and probably also going forward as well, you probably could do more stuff as well. And how we work together is I I see us our team, our tag team, it's been dynamite, really.
It sure has.
We've been not only friends who work together, but he also, like, we've gone to lunch together. We've been to each other's house plenty of times. I think it's also trying to, by doing that, you strengthening your bond, your connection with each other.
Yeah, that is very true. And also, just to count on that, but once we get to the topic that is really important that everyone needs to listen to, I think having a very big strengthened bond definitely comes with a lot of motion, especially not only when it comes to the metaverse, but also with reality. I think now, in this day and age, beforehand, because I know people don't use MySpace anymore or AOL, but obviously they rely on MSN or Yahoo or Google or either what's it called? Firefox, for example, just to keep them maintaining. But
Safari.
yeah, and Safari as well. Obviously used for the MacBooks. But what I loved about social media, and of course with the bonds with our friends, is that they really tie in with one another, because obviously you check up on your friends not only on social media but also on a day-to-day basis, especially when you text them to say that you're home safe and they text you back. But it's all to do with the love and support that you get from them.
It's a sign of respect and trust. You know, you've got to have that trust and respect with each other, because if you don't have those, then that is a friendship you don't really want to have in your life.
Yeah, that is true. Even though, obviously, things bounce back and sometimes things take time to heal, possibly. But when it comes to, reuniting with that friend, even though that you and that friend haven't basically been talking through everything that you've gone through, and it just goes to show how much you really miss that person. Because I'll take myself for that sort of example on when it came to the healing process of what could happen if offending you don't actually talk for a while. And I know that it can be a bit of a burden, to say the least, when people that treat your friends wrong, they obviously want to take advantage of your friends and put them down on a certain level. Because, for instance, you got to think big when it comes to being there for your friends. Because my number one priority at this moment, besides from anything that goes through in life, family is your number one.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's friends. And then thirdly, it's your work. But obviously, the number one priority is God.
Yeah,
and that's the main thing.
True. I mean, I think that having that protector in the sky kind of like put you, not only things in perspective, but you in perspective, and it put you in line, and that set you into the good path, and by meeting a good path, it means that doing things that you would find that you would find yourself doing, and not find yourself not doing, and don't lead yourself into temptation.
Yeah, that's really wise words coming from you right now. Let's get to the next topic. A topic that we have been waiting to talk about for quite some time. This has been mainly talked about so many times, not just from us in general, but mainly it's a topic that I think is near and dear to our hearts. And obviously, this goes out to anyone that feels exactly in that sort of way, mainly for women as well. And if you're listening to this right now, you should understand that it's okay to not feel okay, and it's okay to have those days. But obviously the topic we want to talk about is beauty standards. So Paul, my question to you is, how do you see beauty standards from your own perspective?
Well, everyone has beauty inside them, whether it's inner beauty or outer beauty. Like there's beauty in this room right now. You have beauty, and Ollie has beauty, and I have beauty. We all have beauty. Whether it doesn't discriminate between men or women, because we all have beauty inside them. But most people don't think that they don't look good enough, so they automatically have like things like plastic surgery and stuff like that to rearrange their beauty. And I think that it shouldn't have to mess up their whole natural beauty. What do you think about that?
Well, two things, obviously. One, what you were just describing was body dysmorphia, because obviously that does lead to all of that stuff. And for some people that do lead to that sort of moment, it's okay just not to be okay when it comes to that stuff, because some people can just wake up in the morning and feel like they just don't care really about how they look, and it is what it is. Because obviously I know women are the most beautiful creatures and the most intelligent angels of this earth, really, because they are so blessed, they're so gifted, they're so completely moderate, but at the same time they've got such a powerful mindset.
Yeah, it's that ideology of whether or not that I look okay enough. And that it's funny because they're coming on to the standards of what other people see in you, that automatically makes you not okay or feel okay with who you are and who you want to represent to the world. And that it's pretty lonely thing to have. The fact that other people needs to tell you that they aren't okay with seeing you for you, that it makes you not okay. So automatically you have to change who you are in order to fit their own toxic behavior. I wondered, what do you feel about that analysis?
Well, for that analysis that you just described so wonderfully well, in that incredible manner and potential, I would say no one needs to change on how they look, because everyone's beautiful just the way they are. And obviously I know, for example, when it comes to people that would put themselves down, look for instance like the show that we love to talk about, Euphoria, because that leads to gaslighting, body images, and mainly other stuff. And if you think back to mainly when it came to, with the first season, and I know this is still going on the topic with beauty standards right about now, but I could just sense that all of the characters with their emotions, especially when it came with Rue and Jules and every single character, not just the women characters, but also the guy characters as well, and how they're feeling with their own insecurities. And Paul, I want to give you a very special question about Euphoria, if you don't mind. How does season 1 and season 2 make you feel a lot more with beauty standards after from watching the perspectives of what the characters go through from their own journeys and relationships?
Well, obviously between season 1 and season 2, you get a kind of like a growth of evolution between each and every character you see. So you get to see how they started to develop from who they from the natural being to people who they didn't normally fantasize in being so they kind of like have the progression of turning into something that they never even thought that they would normally see themselves in. So it's kind of like a progression from who they want to be to people who they never thought they ever who they came from someone who didn't see themselves as beings. What do you feel about season 1 and season 2?
Well, I would say, and I'm saying this in a very special way of progressing it, really. I think season 1 gracefully did what it set out to do. Obviously, we know Euphoria is known for their amazing backdrops, their amazing music. Obviously, when it came to getting on to the season, I was completely hooked because we know that the show has been known for winning awards. It's been known for being so beloved by fans everywhere. And it had not one but 2 Christmas specials that came out like 2 years ago. And shout out obviously for the show for making such a big impact on mainly on what goes on with the society, because I think it really shows a lot of masculinity and a lot of judgment in what goes on in our day-to-day lives. Because obviously everything that has happened does happen in real life, especially with police brutality. I'm mainly just going back to everything that has happened in previous moments in our podcast, but obviously, yeah, it can lead to things that has happened from the show that does actually copy real life. We know for a fact that mainly now that this show is going to come to a close with an 8th episode, which is happening by next week. But we know a 3rd season has been renewed, so happy news for that, which has been brilliant. But I just got to say, the fashion and everything that's on point with the show, even from the dialogue and the acting from everyone, which is completely spot on. And I'm going to say this with so much gratitude that this show opens up with such great nostalgia of an open mind. Like, it keeps you on your toes, it keeps you guessing what happens to each character, and you want to know what happens in the next episode, you know, like you want to know what happens for each character moving forward. But you know that obviously the Christmas specials only had like 2 episodes that reflected on the Christmas past, and then episode 1 of season 2 just takes you straight back in with the characters you love.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you hooked and wanting you to watch the next episodes. And I think it again offers you a grisly outlook to how the real world works and how people can be be identified with these negative traits, and how I think Zendaya, who is a good actress, portrays and shows this in her acting performance to the audience, and I think that it as I said, it keeps you hooked, and all of the actors and actors are very good at performing, and yeah, it just keeps you hooked and really fixed in and tuned in. So, and it's a real looks to your own natural beauty as well, and how we shouldn't be taking it for granted, and how we should really love ourselves. And how do you feel about that?
Well, obviously, you took every single word and just turned it into something so amazing, as you always do. I would say natural beauty, inner beauty, outer beauty, and mainly just being confident with your own beauty. It all has to do with loving yourself, you know, because that's mainly been the main focus for everyone, really, because I know that nowadays people could find it a bit challenging to see who to lean on when times are tough, because obviously, of course, you still got your health, you got your life, you got anything that you could possibly think of. But nowadays people wanna, you know, think that, or they just wanna, you know, be with someone that will make them feel happy, which is good, because obviously being with someone will make them feel a lot more appreciated. But when you're alone in those very quiet times, it makes you feel, I would say, vulnerable, to say the least.
Yeah, I've got a question on your point. Do you think that actually being with someone helps you to be helps you to be more confident in yourself?
I think it could happen for anyone, not just even if you're with someone, or either just being mainly honest with yourself, because every single person that could possibly focus upon being that image of being with that significant other, it's a beautiful thing. Because look at parents, for instance, like, their love goes strong and they have a very strong bond. And the thing is, and I'm gonna put I'm gonna put a lot of people on the spotlight for this example, but mainly, for example, our friends who are very intelligent, beautiful females that we obviously come to know and love and contact with. Like, the trust and the bound of where they stand is so remarkable. It's a very great thing. Another person that understands beauty more than anything, and obviously could understand things in such a great way, is my mom. Because obviously she's the number one person not only put me on this world and understood a lot about beauty and being true and honest with, not just with myself, but with the people that I'm around in this very amazing path that I'm in. But there is one thing I can basically take from her. I will hold on near and dear to my heart, Paul, and that's just her heart. And her heart is just the really pure thing that just keeps it going.
Especially when you, as you said, that having loving parents such as your parents, which I had lovely appreciated to meet. They were really nice and to me. You know, and you've got nice parents and a nice mum and dad.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, and I can see their relationship is strong and powerful, and they're really connected, you know, and they're really complemented, you know, like they finished each other's sentences off, and they just add together like peanut butter and jelly, you know, like they go together, like there's no friction, no tension, but which something that you need to make a loving relationship work, and I think that it's a true testament to what we're talking about now. Don't think.
Yeah, definitely right on that. And I think, and if anyone would definitely need to hear this, it's okay to love yourself, be appreciative of yourself, and just keep telling yourself that you're beautiful and that you're worth it in this world, because obviously you don't need to put yourself down and you don't need to feel upset. You just need to look in the mirror and just be like, hey, I'm a beautiful girl and a beautiful human being, and I love myself.
Yeah, just write like a note each day, or just text yourself like an emoji or something to for just to boost yourself up, for that extra morality boost, to try and, for people who ever trying to take it down or anything, just say that you are worth it and you are loved. And if you have to write these things down, then just to build yourself up and to give you some machismo or confidence in yourself to prepare for the day, then do what you have to do.
Yeah, I think that definitely settles in a big way. Ollie, do you want to say anything about beauty standards?
Yeah, I guess, you know, we're all subject to it in many different ways. I think men and women both experience it. You know, I think there's a lot of pressure on men to act and look a certain way. You know, if you look at any sort of Hollywood actor, especially in like the superhero movies, I mean, they're, you know, built like Greek gods. And there's a real, you know, disconnect. But, you know, they're not truthful about the way they achieve these bodies, you know. Oh, there we go. It just came out. Because, you know, they don't get them naturally. They have to take drugs and, you know, they never admit to it. You know, taking steroids and all these extra things, and they set sort of standards that are not attainable for the average person, you know, and these are the people we look up to. And I think you know, a lot of men are getting involved with that side of things, you know, going to the gym, starting to take drugs and doing serious damage to their body to try and you know, reach the goals they see on the screen. It's there needs to be a bit more honesty from those people about what's going on, you know. And similarly for women, you've got, I think it's actually in a better state for girls. I think there's a lot more body positivity. I think, you know, there's a long way to go, but they've definitely sort of paved the way for the men and shown that, you know, there is another voice to be had. And I think we need as men, we need some more positive role models about natural and sort of attainable beauty standards, and like it's okay to like maybe not go to the gym 8 times a week and look like Hercules. You know what I mean? I just think.
Should I possibly add on to what you were saying?
Absolutely, I'll pass you back.
Okay. Adding on to what Ollie was saying, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's definitely a huge subject to grasp upon, especially when it comes to mainly just the standards, not just for male but also for female. And Paul, I think you could chime in when you need to on this point, because I think now I see a lot of positivity in basically with the guys, but I think what do you see in the positivity for both sides really, Paul?
The positivity, I think that with both actually it's obviously natural beauty and going to the gym, just being confident, and there's a lot of wanting to look good in whether it's recreational, whether it's looking good for your husband or your wife, and there's that added pressure of trying to look a certain way, and that could be positive for your health. For instance, if you are for your health, like dieting, because I see people who are like overweight and who obviously need to exercise, but like it I mean, I get it, exercise is not absolutely for everyone, but like if you do it like once in a while or once in a blue moon, then at least you can get rid of these illnesses that we've heard so much about that can contribute to like a lifelong illness. So from that point, I think exercise is really good. So what do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. Exercise is important, and also mainly going for a walk, or either just having a bit of meditation, to say the least. But Paul, do you have any final thoughts or any messages that you want to give out on beauty standards and mainly on the metaverse in general?
Yeah, with regard to beauty standards, just remember to love yourself. I know that it's coming from not only 2 proud black men, but and Ollie, but also generally as well, because we say that we love each other, but love ourselves, but do we really? I mean, like, we talk like exceptionally a big game, but we don't actually. I mean, first, I think we need to deal with what's ailing inside. What we have to deal with is the psychological aspects first, and then we can work on the outside, because if we don't feel good on the inside, then how are you gonna try and change and to swerve what needs to be done on the outside? You need to have a clear perspective mind, in order to go forwards. So, and regarding the Metaverse, I think that the same thing can be applied, but to the whole social media aspect of things. You need to have a clear path in order to know what you want to do with this whole new level of Facebook that you're creating, or else you are going to end up with a metaverse that is going to basically fail and fail in its construct. What do you think?
Well, Paul, I'm gonna go straight in on my thoughts on the metaverse before I go straight into the beauty standards, if that's all right. I think my thoughts on metaverse, and I know I've said this before, I think social media can be a bit of a safe place for obviously being in the zone, or either if you need time out from the outside world, which is okay under your standards, and also from your reality as well, but also to check up on people you love and also your friends. That's mainly my priority on it, on the metaverse. I would say for beauty standards, and this is a very cleared out one, I think, from what you've also said about people just loving themselves. I think every single day, and this goes out to the women especially, they should write down a note and talk about the things that really matters to them. They could place it on the wall, place it on the mirror, put it anywhere that they could possibly put, and remember that they're gonna remind themselves on how amazing that they are inside and out.
Yeah, and another thing you can do is if you're struggling with your mental health, or whether you want to get some ideas on how to be more healthier, but yet you don't know what to do, there are people who you can help, and people who you can call. You can even go to like meetings or groups, or you can even ask a friend for some advice. If you have the inability to think a certain way on how to change the game, as it were. So asking a friend can be beneficial, or going to a group that can give you some advice. What do you think of those ideas?
I think those ideas are brilliantly well, but also a major shout out to Ollie once for letting us use the studio. This is the first time the Awesome Spectacular has ever been taken over on here. I also want to say a massive shout out to the people that we work with: Hackney Museum, Axelarius, Bubble Club, and mainly, of course, I'm really proud on the topics that we have done today. Also, a massive thank you to my co-host, Paul Anthony Christian, of course, by my side. I've been your host, Rufaro. Paul, you want to say anything once we close out?
Yeah, just thank you for listening to this awesome, spectacular episode of the podcast, and I hope you enjoyed a little conversation on the matters that matters to us regarding the Metaverse and the inner I hope you got something out of it at least. I hope that you stay tuned for the next episode. If you like what you hear, you could like us or subscribe to us, and anything else.
All I can say is listen to the previous episodes on Spotify. Once you get a chance to. Also, very soon we will be having special guests, so stay on the tune for that because there are some surprises along the way. But overall, yeah, I'm really proud on how we're going with the podcast right now. You guys make sure you stay tuned and listen to it because me and my co-hosts have got a lot of things planned for you guys along the way. But until then, we will see you soon.
We got a lot on our minds, so stay tuned.
Alright, bye guys. This is both of your hosts signing off.
Bye.